Well, hey, welcome to a Valid Answer Monday with Scott and Marshall. It is your, let me put our names up here. It is the socialist, liberal atheist, and the conservative capitalist or capitalist conservative pastor here having our discussions each week and setting, just kind of setting the stage and setting the expectation of how discussions should happen in this world and what we should be doing. And we're the examples for you to follow. Well,
yeah, I don't know about that. Oh, man. That's pretty terrifying.
Did I just set the bar too high?
You set the bar. I don't even know if we set a bar, but we do hope that our show inspires a lot of you out there to start talking about ideas. Stop talking so much about the weather and the sports score and start talking more about these big ideas. Even if the ideas seem really radical or really out there to you, still talk about them because, again, like I've said, I think I said this last night, I've said this before, over 200 years ago, ideas like freedom of speech and equality and women having rights, all of these things are considered crazy radical ideas that weren't even discussed in polite company. But people went ahead and discussed those ideas, and now 200 years later, they are the norm rather than the exception.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, I mean, because there is the possibility here that oh, you're messing with my headphones now.
Yeah, I'm.
There's the same possibility here that we can talk about sports and entertainment and all that kind of stuff, but let's also talk about the deeper issues that are in those things. Like one of the things that we even, this is airing on the Monday after the Academy Awards. Yeah. So, I mean, and why do they take, just as an example of something, why do they take themselves so seriously? How many award shows are there?
It seems like every month there's another award show.
Yeah, I was watching somebody who was trying to put out a YouTube post about trying to predict who was going to, like, it's to say, here's who should win and here's who's probably going to win because it's so political and stuff like that. I kind of lean towards paying a little bit attention to that because I'm in this industry and because my sons are kind of into this. And one of my sons is getting ready to, go to university to become a cinematographer and live in that world and be, that he really was paying attention to who won best cinematography. It was Alfonso Cuarón, by the way, for a black and white movie. And it's like, yep, that's a lot more difficult as a cinematographer than, but so anyways, I pay a little bit of attention to that as an industry, but as I was watching it, they're like, well, this person, it's probably gonna be this person because they won the Golden Globes and they won the Tellys and they won the BAFTA award and they won. I'm like, how many awards? I don't even know what the BAFTA means. Maybe I should. I don't know, but
let's look it up. Let's not guess. Let's know.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of awards, and then even when you get into those award shows, I mean, it's all political anyway. It's, it's almost a joke because watching even this person who was trying to make this prediction, they were like, here's the quality and here's who probably should win. But because of what's going on in the news, because of what's happening politically around us, because what's going on, this person is probably going to win. This is probably going to be the winner here. So what is it? What does it stand for?
The British Actors Film something.
Oh, so it's the Brits Academy Awards.
Essentially, the British Academy Film Awards, BAFTA, yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, does that mean like if you have to be British to win, or?
I don't know. I don't know. But I don't know what the criteria are. But yeah, it seems like every month there's another entertainment award show, and it feels like, just from a person who barely watches TV, I'm having all kinds of audio issues here.
I'll fix you.
Are the levels coming in okay?
Yeah, everything's coming in fine.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
Yeah.
I care about your guys' experience. Scott and I can hear each other pretty well, but I also don't want you to watch the podcast and it sounds like echoey.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, really weird.
Just make sure you talk into your mic.
Okay, well, all right.
I struggle with that all the time on production. I tell people to hold their mic down here. I'm like, bring it up. That's where it belongs.
But as I was saying, it's like they're constantly giving themselves awards. They're patting themselves on the back. And are they entertaining us? Are they doing anything to earn these awards? I don't even see this many awards in sports. athletes.
True. I mean,
don't
they
know
have like, what is
any
it, the
industry-
ESPYs or the ESPN awards, but I don't even know if that's for actual. I don't even know if that's for. That's like, I don't even know if that's for actual athletes. I think that's for like,
And the Olympics are every
characters.
4 years or 2 years if you count the winter versus summer. It just seems like there's a lot of self-congratulation going on. Now,
I suppose it could be basically what the Super Bowl is, or what the World Series is, or what because you're determining who's the best, and that's I don't know if it's an awards show effectively, but there really is no like competition in film other than, I mean, I guess it could be the box office would be whoever makes the most money, or it could be who wins the Academy Award, could be the competition. So I suppose this is the Super Bowl of movies.
Well, I mean, if nobody watches your movie, I mean, that tells you something. I don't
Well,
care
and
about
then-
what the critics say. If nobody watches your movie, you don't make movies.
And here's the thing: most of the Academy Award winners are movies that nobody saw.
Yeah. Because it's like, I can't remember who said it, but I think it was a well-known philosopher. It may have been Plato or even Aristotle, who said that if nobody reads what you write, then you don't write. The entire purpose of your writing is for people to read it. And if nobody can read it because it's inaccessible or it doesn't engage them, then you're not a writer. You're scribbling, but nobody's reading what you write. And it's the same thing with any art. If nobody values your art, are you really an artist? I guess you could say you're an artist for yourself. You value the work that you do. Just like we make this podcast, only 100 people watch it.
Right.
So are we really podcasting? I mean, it's a great question. It's a philosophical question.
No, it's really good. I mean, I like it. I start thinking about it. I'm like, does your art have to be viewed by people in order for it to be art?
It depends, I think, on what you're trying to do. If you're just pursuing a hobby, like people, build model airplanes or work with wood, and they keep their creations or put them away. I mean, the Chinese poet Li Po was famous for writing poems on paper and then throwing them in the river, just watching it float away,
Wow.
So there is a thing called art for art's sake, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, that's on the MGM logo with the lion. When the lion roars, it says artist, gratias artis, or something like that.
Yeah.
It means art for art's sake. So there is a certain level of that, but then at the same time, we also have, there's a lot of politics caught up.
It is, because you'll see as we complain about all these artists giving themselves awards, they are mostly liberal.
Okay.
I mean,
I imagine there's a fair number of those. There's also some well-known conservatives in Hollywood.
Very few.
You probably have the list.
And this is something that's concerning as a father for a young man who's going to be going into that world and working in that world, who has a belief system that is very, very much nearly blackballed in the industry. And you just got to watch out for that. But, it's just it's the same thing. If, at least as a conservative, views it as a bunch of, liberal people just giving themselves pats on the backs and handing out awards because, everybody's a winner.
Well, do you think the people who win these awards, do you think they have the merit? I mean, both of us happen to work in entertainment and media and all of that. And we both are familiar with a lot of the things that happens on screen and on stage and all of this.
If the award was given to the person who had the most merit, that would be great. But
so you disagree that the person who has the most merit isn't getting it? Because what I'm trying to say here is, it's tough. It's not an easy thing to be an actor. It's not easy to come here on camera and first of all put yourself out there, and then people come online and snipe at you and say things, and a lot of times you have to use a fake name because there's crazies and weirdos out there and all of these other things going on.
Well, I know for actors, I know that it is outside of the world of acting, outside of the entertainment, what they're doing in front of a camera is insane. What they're literally doing makes no sense, and there's no one who's more aware of that than an actor. For an actor to stand there in front of a camera, I was watching some behind the scenes, I think today, some video that popped up on my Instagram feed showing Benedict Cumberbatch doing the voiceover work for Smaug, the dragon in the Hobbit movies, and he's literally, and they're doing motion capture on him. So he's in the middle of a room with like a dozen cameras around him, a bunch of people in the room, and he's got this skin tight, late, spandex blue suit with little balls taped on him and dots all over his face and a camera in front of his face. And he's crawling around on the ground and he's just really going at it. And when you look at that, it's like, that's a lunatic. That's a crazy person crawling around the ground, pretending to be something else. But what they're doing is creating a performance that makes sense once you put it into a story and it becomes something greater than just what it is right there. But they are very aware. Actors I know are very aware of how ridiculous they look. And they are, because it is something that happens. So it does take a bit of bravery to do that, to be ridiculous over and over and over again, doing something that looks really stupid in that moment. But once it's edited with this and this and this together and, all this kind of stuff, then it makes sense. So there is some talent that happens there, but it's just tough because it's subjective talent.
It's very much
subjective talent. But also, I don't know if anybody's ever been to Los Angeles around the awards time, around January, February. You'll go through, especially in Hollywood and in that area, there are entire buildings, not just billboards, but entire buildings that have been turned into a billboard that will show whatever movie, and it says for your consideration, because the Academy members,
campaigning.
Oh, that's absolutely campaigning. And the Academy members are people who live there in the industry. The majority of them are right there in Los Angeles. The members of all the different guilds that put together, that put together the nominations, everything like that, and all the people who vote. It's a voting process of who has more awareness. The Variety magazine will have ads upon ads, full page ads for your consideration. You'll see that in billboards all over on bus stop signs, everything that during all the places where you'd go during the summer, and there would be the blockbuster movie posters. During January and February, it's all the posters for all this actor or that film or whatever. It's all for your consideration. So there's a lot of money that gets put into advertising only if your film was backed by a major studio. So that whoever has the money,
some competition.
Whoever has the money can put up the advertising, can get the name recognition out, will win the
So they're marketing.
award.
So obviously then it's not just a trophy then.
It's not. That's the thing.
There's not money.
There's not an
Business.
objective. It's not like a literal score that you score this many points and touchdowns and you bet that they only scored that many. There you go. We're getting ready to do. I say this. We're getting ready to do. On Sunday, we're getting ready to do a film festival that I help put it on. So I'm not one of the judges. So since my boys make movies that are going there, I'm not one of the judges. We actually bring in judges from Los Angeles, Christians who work in Hollywood, the few that there are, that we bring them in and act as judges and stuff like that. And literally they just mark down as they're writing, cinematography, this many points, this many points, this many points. And then we just literally go and total up the points, and whoever has the most points for cinematography wins the award for cinematography. So it's very mathematical in that way, but the Academy Awards that are done in Hollywood are not that way at all. It is very political within themselves. Every division, whether it's best director, best screenwriter, every division, the nominees are gathered together from people who work in that industry. So the Screenwriters Guild, people in the Screenwriters Guild get to make the nominations for the best screenplay. People in the Actors Guild, only the Actors Guild gets to say, here's the actor we want to put up. That's why when they say it's an honor to be nominated, the nomination is by the people in your industry. The final vote is by everybody. So it's just whoever's the most popular. So basically, if you get the most popular, you're probably going to win. But to be nominated means that the people in your industry think that you... So there's almost more merit in being nominated than there is in actually winning the award. That's why a lot of times they say, it's an honor to be nominated.
So then it's a popularity contest.
Then ultimately it's a popularity contest in the end.
Could it be corrupt or crooked? Because obviously winning this award must be worth something. There's no money involved other than the fact of if you are an Academy Award winning actor, now you can get more money for your next role. You're not winning money for the prize. But yet everybody's going to want to watch your film now. Right?
Yes,
because it's an award winner.
And now people go back.
You get to put that on the box with little
when you sell it with
olive branches.
They're called laurels.
Laurels,
yep.
Yeah, which makes anything important. Literally take any phrase that you want and put it inside laurels.
Yes.
And it will suddenly look important.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, in fact, the website that my kids post that we use at the film festival for everybody to post their submissions is called Film Freeway. So it puts together basically films and festivals. So you can create your own laurels on that website. So you can choose because there's like 4 different types of laurels
so
of the olive branches. Yeah, 4 different, and you can pick those and put in that way you can post it and put it on your poster and stuff like that. So yeah, so all that's there. But like I've actually been to, because one of the very few ones is the visual effects industry. Every industry does this. They come together and they get people from their industry and they come together and they choose who the nominees are going to be. Only the visual effects industry and I think makeup and hair open that to the public, that they do the screenings. It's actually at the Sam Goldwyn Theater on Wilshire in Beverly Hills, and they open it to the public. I've been to it twice. It's called the Visual Effects Bake Off. And basically, you bring your pie and bake off, and people and the industry chooses. You can't vote unless you're in the industry, but they allow you to go to the screening. So I've been to the screening a couple of times where they screen 10 of them, and then the people in the room who can vote actually vote for what are going to be the 5 that are the nominees. So it's kind of a cool process to kind of be there and see that process happen, and there's a lot of stories from that and stuff like that. But yeah, that's basically what happens. That the nomination, I think, has more weight than the actual award to the people. Other than the person who wins the award, that catapults their career. So there is that on there. But as far as like, it's almost artificial because it is just a popular. Who here's these 4? Okay, well I saw that one. So okay, yeah, I remember seeing that one. People were talking about that one. I'll vote for that one. So
and then they get a platform. They get to go up and give a speech. They get the red carpet, and they get to you get to wear a dress if you want to. Apparently,
yes, I can't remember the actor who did that, but cool. All right,
and then you get to give a speech, and the speeches can get rather political.
Yeah. Now my question comes down to this: does making a lot of money and being a celebrity, does that make your speech more valuable? Does your speech have more value because you're a celebrity?
Does your political opinion carry more weight? And I think we can cross-apply this to athletes.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Right, because athletes also do the same. You have Colin Kaepernick, for example, right? Yeah. So inherently, I'm going to say no, because a person is a person is a person, and we all have opinions.
Yeah.
And most of them stink, and we all know that. But at the same time, if you have a platform and you want to be an advocate for social justice or social change, you have to use that platform. Because that's how you get these ideas out there. I mean, look at what you and I are doing. Yeah. You and I are not celebrities. We're not necessarily famous people yet.
Get us out there.
Yep,
get our names out there. Share this with everybody, because that's our ultimate goal, is to become celebrities and to get our own award at some kind of award ceremony. That's the only reason we're doing this. I hope you can hear the sarcasm in my voice.
Well, I want to get rich and tell people what to do and how to vote.
Well, I know that. Yes, that's me. You think you're smarter than everybody else, and you should be able to tell everyone how to live, even though you say freedom is letting others do what you don't want them to. You don't like. But anyway.
Well, who says I'm going to give freedom, though, Scott?
Exactly. That's right. Yeah.
That may be the definition of freedom. That doesn't mean you're going to get it from me. I'm joking, of course.
Yeah.
But
don't vote for Marshall.
But should we listen to celebrities then who are using that platform to advocate for justice or change or whatever their issue is? And does it make a difference depending on what they're advocating for? Right?
What I asked, I said, does being a celebrity give your speech more value? I mean,
they're not going to be an expert on most of these political, but they may be experts on certain issues, such as racial justice. If I see a black actor go up there and say, I grew up poor, and I face this kind of injustice, well, I'm going to listen to that, because here's a person who has firsthand experience with that issue. On the other hand, if a person gets up and says, "Viva la revolución," we need, communism, and it's just this average white guy actor, and I'm like, well, what's your experience with communism that you're advocating so boldly for it on a public forum? Why should I listen to you versus anybody else?
And here's the thing. When I ask that question, does it give their speech more value? It's kind of a trick question, because the answer is the answer is obviously yes, but not because they are elevated and they are recognized, and people post what they say. That in itself gives greater value to what they're saying. but it doesn't make what they're saying more valuable. What I'm trying to say is more people are going to hear it. So there is more power and more value to it, but it doesn't necessarily mean it has any worth in and of itself. Just because you're heard more doesn't mean you're more right. It doesn't make it gives, what am I trying to say? It gives, there is value to it. The value is increased, but what you're getting for your value doesn't necessarily increase. So, you know what I'm saying?
There's inherent value.
There's inherent value to it that
that
should be taken advantage of. If you're given that platform, then take it. If you're given that platform, that was the whole thing with back in the 1920s, 1930s with Eric Liddell, who was the Christian athlete, the runner that they made the movie Chariots of Fire about. That was his whole thing. Was like his whole family were all missionaries. He was just a really fast runner and would compete and run. And then it started to become this big thing. And then he realized that when he wins, everybody gathers to listen to him. So he's like, all right, so when I win and everybody gathers around me, I'm going to tell them about God. And if God blesses me to win, then great. That's going to give me an opportunity to stand on a podium and tell everybody about God. And that was what he saw. He saw, if I win, that means I have a podium that people will listen to and I can tell them about God. It's like, cool. So if I believe in that, then I got to also believe in the value that's given to, people that I don't agree with.
So you're kind of okay then with the celebrities going up on stage and wearing a dress on the red carpet.
I have to be
and doing. What
I have
they do,
I have to be I have to be by principle.
Mm-hmm.
I can still make fun of them, and I can still say
you can ridicule
it's
ideas.
Like, wow, you got your platform, and that's what you said. That's what you did. That's what you said. Wow, that was really stupid. It doesn't make what you're saying any smarter. It doesn't make what you're saying any more true. It just means that more people are hearing it, which means you have a greater responsibility to be right. You have a greater responsibility to not be petty and to not be frivolous with your words, and because there is a greater influence. That value has increased because your influence has increased. So you have a greater responsibility, to quote, the Spider-Man movies, with great power comes great responsibility. You have a grerer responsibility.
I don't think that's Spider-Man, but
well, I'm sure it came from somewhere else too, but it was made popular by the Spider-Man movies because was it Uncle Ben told Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility, and that's what kind of popularized it, and so everybody kind of, But yeah.
Well, I want to be clear, and this is one of the things that actually defines the show. People are entitled to respect because they are human beings. Even if you don't like them, people are entitled to a certain measure of dignity and respect simply by virtue of their humanity. However, ideas are not entitled to respect. You do not have to respect everyone's opinions. Some people's opinions are frankly out there. And it's okay to ridicule the opinion, but you should not necessarily ridicule the person or the individual.
And I don't exactly agree with what you just said, and I'm going to challenge you because I don't think you actually agree with what you just said when you actually take it down. I believe, to change what you said, I believe everyone is entitled to be given respect initially. But a person, not just their ideas, but a person can lose your respect.
Well, yeah, if they do certain
you
things
you yourself yesterday said there are certain people who deserve to be punched in the face and should be killed, which means you don't respect them and you don't believe that they have human dignity.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so you don't really believe in what you said. There are people, but I believe everyone deserves for you to give them that. I believe everyone deserves
initially.
Everyone deserves that, and if they take certain actions that causes respect to be lost, then that's their actions causing that respect.
Okay, but to lose that level of respect, though, requires a pretty egregious offense.
Yes.
Against human dignity itself.
Right.
And,
yeah.
In other words, you have to literally not show other human beings respect in order to lose that level of respect. So I have to change, my position here when confronted with a fair challenge, a valid answer from Scott here. so I get that.
Yeah, respect is a spectrum, Josh Gunderson says.
He's saying
absolutely.
respect is a spectrum.
And there are people get greater respect because of, again, it's I always go back to movie quotes because I'm always into movies, but you get the Batman Begins when Batman says that he's all, I got to do the voice too, right? It's like, it's not who I am on the inside, it's what I do that defines me, right? So it's like, it is kind of what you do is going to is going to determine the respect you earn with other people.
A man is the sum of his actions. It's existential philosophy.
Yeah.
Existentialism. So what about Colin Kaepernick taking a knee?
Again, he has that right. And people have the right to ridicule him. I don't see what the big deal is. People are upset that he did it. He did it. People are upset that he did it. Both of them are fine. You know what I mean? What causes me to lose respect in somebody taking some kind of stance like that? Football players coming out in 2015, 2016, all coming out with their hands up, don't shoot. For me to lose respect for that is that they got caught up in a lie. They got literally them coming out, hands up, don't shoot, was from what was it, Brown? I can't remember his first name right now. The guy who was shot by police, who they say was shot in the back by police. He was going, hands up, don't shoot. He was saying hands up, don't shoot. When it all came down, forensically it showed he tried to grab the police officer's gun. He was shot from the front. All the bullets came from the front as he was charging towards the police officer. So the whole hands up, don't shoot was a lie. So when people come out making a fool of themselves because they didn't research and they didn't look it up, they get caught up in the lie, and they're coming out, hands up, don't shoot, hands up, don't shoot. Stand with my, no, you're believing a lie. You're perpetuating a lie. I don't have to respect that. I mean, you're using your platform to be dumb. You're using your platform to speak out about what you don't know. I don't have to respect that.
But aren't they also protesting? I mean, they're not necessarily protesting that individual event. That's the catalyst, you know.
So the catalyst was a lie.
Okay, but yet the iron is hot, and can you blame people for striking when the iron is hot? I mean, when else do you strike? You can't wait a year for an investigation, the results of an investigation.
Sure, you can. That's what you do.
But
that's the wise thing to do.
Public consciousness has moved on, so you sort of have to time it, and you have to strike while the iron is hot,
whether it's true or not.
That's
whether it's true or not.
That's the risk that you're running. That you're going to make yourself look like an idiot because you struck when the iron was hot, and it turns out that the premise upon which you struck was completely wrong. Nonetheless, the greater social issue is still valid, and it's one that needs to be elevated.
We talked about it yesterday. The same with the statistics. The whole hands up, don't shoot, Black Lives Matter, police are killing too many black people. Statistically, that's not even true. That event wasn't even true, and statistically, it's not even true. The entire movement is based on a lie. So I can't respect people who come out with that position because it's obvious they have not researched that position. They're reacting emotionally. They're not looking into it. They're looking at something from an emotional point of view of how it feels and not what's really happening. So it's difficult for me to give people respect who come out like that on these positions that don't have any truth to them.
But that's how most people operate. Most people operate on this emotional level,
and most people don't deserve respect.
Most people. Well, I'm going to disagree with that. But I'm going to argue
because of what they did. If they take this, they deserve respect on the beginning. But if they're going to do those things, then no, they're going to lose. They're going to lose respect. And most people do stupid things that deserve not to be respected.
So most people believe ridiculous things, though. You know, and that includes half of Hollywood, which is constantly sometimes advocating ridiculous things, including like flat earth conspiracies, you know, and stuff like that, really.
Yeah.
And these are, you know, are entertainers, but they expect to be taken seriously. Yet a lot of them, you know, they don't have the academic background. They don't have the scientific credentials to be weighing in on these issues. Yet they speak, you know, as though they are experts. And a lot of people believe ridiculous things, from Bigfoot to flat Earth to 9/11 conspiracies to other things, you know. And
Josh is saying, what if you are mistaken because of bad information? You're going to always have bad information if you're not waiting for the information. Period.
Okay, but how long do you wait? How long do you wait before you act?
Until the information's correct.
So what if the information is deliberately withheld to prevent you from acting?
Then don't act and don't be a fool.
But then what if there's a greater injustice afoot and you really want to address it?
Well, you can address it all you want when you're just the one taking the risk that you're wrong because you didn't wait for all the information. I don't jump in on these things publicly and say, here's I see so many people who do. I'm just like, just wait. Everybody just wait. Most of the time, it's not as sensational as the news is trying to report it. The news is creating the sensation. The news is creating the immediacy.
I think you're correct about that.
The news is creating. You're saying strike while the iron's hot. The news is trying to create hot moments, whether false, true or false. They're just simply trying to create hot moments.
The Jesse Smollett case that we talked about.
Yeah,
right?
but I'm just saying, and it could be going hot the other way too. You know, that could be swinging all the way back around to where that none of it was coordinated or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, you're saying you should strike. You're literally perpetuating the idea: strike while the iron's hot, which means you are falling into the media scramble of saying it's hot right now, it's hot right now, it's hot right now. They're baiting you, and you're grabbing it. Well, don't be baited.
How else do you ride the edge? You got to ride the edge of the wave. You know,
Why?
If you're an actor or an athlete, or if you're a news organization and you want to sell papers, or you want to, whatever it is, I call it selling papers. People don't sell papers anymore. But if you want views or clicks or whatever it may be, you know, you have to be out there on the edge, and you have to push that edge. And it does mean that every once in a while you are going to wipe out. You're going to crash and burn. You're going to have to issue a retraction.
Sorry, I got to correct something Josh just said. He said all right-wing media is baiting. All media is baiting. Don't just throw that on the right. All media is baiting. That's what it does. That's a little bit of a I don't know. Would that be a red herring? What would that be? When he's saying right wing
hasty
media?
Generalization, because he's using the word all, so it is a bit of a hasty generalization.
Well, not only that,
but
I'm not worried about
he's right though.
But I'm not worried about the all. The all is fine.
It's all is what bothers me.
No, but he's not being inclusive. He's saying right wing. It's like, no, it's all of them. It's all of them on the side. He's trying to. Left wing's not doing it. Right wing is doing it. It's like, no, are they all doing it? Are they all doing it?
Yes, because at what point you are a wing.
Yeah.
You have a bias, and you are engaged in baiting, if you
will.
All
media is
so
baiting.
That includes right wing and left wing. The problem that we have with the news media is the news media has to be monetized, and people have gotten out of the habit of paying for their news. We don't want to pay journalists anymore. We don't want to subscribe to the newspaper. We don't want to pay for quality information. We don't want to pay for anything,
because people like him is always trying to give everything away. Your internet should be free.
Okay.
Your TV should probably be free too, right? Cable TV should be free.
And I agree that it should be free.
Yeah, so you're part of that problem. You're part of the problem of perpetuating the idea that these things should be free. So go ahead. Okay. People expect it to be free.
Let me explain this, okay? In order to stay in business, newspapers have to then pander to an audience. They have to basically niche themselves. And there's a certain type of audience that they market to. There's a certain kind of stories that they run with. So certain newspapers are more political, like Wall Street Journal will feature more finance and economic stories. Something like the Daily Mail is tabloid. They're going to talk about the royal family and celebrities and things like that. So they're all niched, and they all pitch towards a certain audience. And that audience might be right. It might be left. It might even be an ethnicity. You know,
Josh is saying media from a strict partisan perspective is biased, but that's not journalism. Journalism is
precisely
biased. But journalism has been invaded by bias. They're not journalists.
Journalism has always been biased since the beginning of time.
What I'm trying to get, Josh, what I'm trying to tell you is you seem to be blind to the idea that it's happening across the board. You want to have this idea of, well, no, the left isn't doing that. Only the right's doing it. The lefts are journalism. The lefts are journalists. They're true. They're staying true. The right is what. Everybody is biased. Everybody, all media is clickbait. That's what it's become. That's what it's naive of you to say it's only happening on the right.
Well, so what I want to say is I do think the news should be free, and I think that real journalism, again, your objective is to determine the truth value of what you're reporting on.
Yeah.
You are simply in the role of verifying facts that are coming to you through various sources. So a source will report to you as a journalist, hey, this happened. You have two ways to report it. One is you check on your own and verify the article.
Which is happening less and less.
Which I think needs to be your first step. And the second step then is when you write it up. You know, so-and-so claimed, or according to their eyewitness report, this is what happened. But you put that caveat in there. And we don't have enough of this on either the right or the left. But, you know, I'm not a fan of...
Well, what it is, here's what it is. Again, it comes down to we need to wait. We need to wait, because what's happened is that it's more important in journalism to be first than it is to be correct. It is more important to be first
absolutely.
than it is to be correct.
Because of the revenue model, because we don't
Which makes you not actually a journalist. Well, a journalist needs to be correct before they're first.
Because thanks to capitalism, you know, it's all about making that dollar. They're chasing dollars rather than truth. And when your dollar is your gospel, you become sociopathic because you're no longer committed to a principle. This is why I say capitalism is sociopathic. It's committed to the dollar, not to the truth.
But it's still the best way because it creates competition.
I'm not going to argue capitalism right now. So I'll let you get your little
right. But I'm just saying
out.
the other side of it is what? Government controlled journalism?
Well,
if it's not free journalism in a capitalistic society to
it would
make
have to
money,
be subsidized.
So
some level.
now it's a government form, and so you're trying to claim that government form that government ran journalism is better than free journalism.
Yet it also has to be independent of government control. It should be government financed, yet it should also be independent of government control. And if we as a free society value that, well, that's the thing. But that's one of the things that we need to move towards as a society. Now, we've kind of gotten away from the whole actors and entertainment thing.
Well, it's kind of still in there because we're talking about, the power of your voice, the power of the voice of actors, about the responsibility you have when you have a platform. And that also falls into media. The media has a responsibility to the truth. The media has a responsibility to because they're given such a big platform, they have a responsibility to honor that platform, and it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening across the board. Where the media, it's not happening across the board with people who are suddenly given a platform, and now they can just say whatever they want. They have the right to do that, but you're losing respect. And
so what should we do, Scott? What's the antidote to this? If the right wing and the left wing are all biased and they're all just chasing dollars rather than truth, if your actors are constantly filling, and your athletes are filling your head with whatever their pet issue is all the time, what do you do?
The answer is you don't follow them. Stop giving value to their opinions. Stop quoting them. Stop retweeting them. Stop buying the newspapers and going to that news source. Stop doing that. You as the consumer have that power. Stop. The only reason they don't research, again, this is a hasty generalization, but for the most part, those who stand up, what we're talking about is people who stand up and not necessarily speaking something that is completely researched. All right. So just the people who are standing up without researching. Their opinion has less value because there's less research. However, their position and their platform gives their opinion more value, but only if you buy it. So if you retweet it, if you quote it, if you're buying this, you're giving them the artificial power. The only value that their voice has is the value that you give them when you receive it, when you look into it, when you retweet it, when you repost it, when you do those things. You're giving the value to the valueless opinion. So don't give value to a valueless opinion. Don't immediately jump say, oh, that person said something, they're famous, they said something, I agree with it, I'm going to post it, without researching it.
But how can you reasonably ask people not to share or reinforce their core beliefs when they see somebody who is of some importance or somebody speaking from a high platform, which is also, as you indicated, has value? How can you expect a person not to listen to that?
Well, as I'm saying, you just got to be, that's why we're trying to educate them. That's what we're doing on this show. That's what we're trying to do, is educate them to say, don't give that immediate power. Research it. Look at, here's what I do. I get posts all the time in my Facebook feed of conservative thought, because most of my friends are conservative and they post their little conservative memes. And
it's an echo chamber.
It's an echo chamber. I don't listen to the echo chamber. They post it. I'm like, what does the Guardian say? What does CNN say? Well, I look at areas that I would not normally, and I go, what do they say about this story? And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, there's probably some truth there. There's probably some truth there, but ultimately that really wasn't something to get all fired up about, people. It's an echo chamber, and don't just, oh yeah, I agree with it. The problem is, if you agree with it, you should suspect it. You should immediately suspect it, because the easy thing is say, I agree with it, so I'm going to repost it. I agree with it, so I'm going to join in, instead of, I agree with it, but is it true?
So is this your normal routine?
Yeah, all the time. That's why if you follow me on Facebook, I don't post a whole lot of stuff.
You don't post anything.
I don't really post anything. But at the same time, you don't see me jumping on very many bandwagons, because even conservative bandwagons, because I see what's being posted, and then I like, what's the real story? Like the article will say the news, boom. I'm like, okay. Then I get into the meat of it. I'm like, okay, I can see where you pulled your headline from that, but that's not really what happened. And that's conservative or liberal bias, whatever, left or right. I look I look into it and I go, is that really what happened? It's easy to follow the headline. I want to see, did that happen before I get fired up about something? And most of the time, that's not really what happened on either side that's doing it. Most of the time, the headline is not what happened. If you allow yourself to follow the headline, you repost that headline, you do those kind of things, you're part of the problem. You're perpetuating the problem. You're giving artificial power to people's opinions that should not have that much value.
So I think the first lesson here is actually read the article, right? Get beyond the headline, because a lot of people share headlines and they share, just sound bites, because again, that gets you that little hit of dopamine. You like it. You want to share it. It makes you feel good. It reinforces your core belief. But maybe you do need to take the time to click on the article and actually read the piece.
And not only that, click on an article from another source, from another source that you don't like. And see what they say about the same thing, because they're going to come with what people like to say, it's unbiased journalism, but you can just see how people write and the perspective they're coming from. It's like, that was an opinion piece. That wasn't really journalism most of the time. But when you know this agency is going to typically bias this way and this agency is going to typically bias this way, whichever side you agree with, read the article from the other side and then search for those things. Say, what is the actual truth, not the headline. That's why, again, I keep coming back to that. Memes are just awful because they're just a little headline that often does not highlight what the truth actually is.
Yeah, Josh says try reading their sources, and that's another thing is what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of your news articles either come from only one source or they are rewrites of existing sources, because oftentimes there's only one or a few people actually on the ground in the location getting the original statements and facts.
And everybody at the top just want the headlines for the clicks so they can sell the clicks to their advertisers.
And so what happens is you have like news agencies like AP or Reuters who will put out a story and then it's syndicated, it's carried across multiple platforms, or literally someplace like the Daily Mail, I believe, rewrites a lot of their content. They pull content. Now, they cite their sources. They say, according to an article in, this publication, they're not plagiarizing, but there is a lot of rewriting going on in the news industry.
That happens all the time.
It's not all, original
And just for those of you who don't know, if it's an article from The Onion, it's sarcastic. It's not real.
Yet The Onion sometimes gives us the most realistic stuff out there. It's kind of crazy.
There's actually,
is it really satire?
To my conservative friends, my Christian friends, there's actually a Christian version of The Onion.
The
Babylon Bee is absolutely hilarious, but it's mostly about church stuff. So if you're not in church, you won't get most of it. But it's really.
But satire has tremendous value. Satire allows you to talk about serious subjects that you cannot always approach in polite society, that they will literally kill you if you discuss it seriously, but by making a joke about it, they tolerate it. It's the same thing with comedians, and that's the role of comedians and satirists and stuff.
There is a role for the court jester.
There is absolutely a place, because the court jester is the one person who can tell the king the truth to his face
and not get his head chopped off.
Not get beheaded for doing so. So
that's what's great about a celebrity roast.
Yeah.
Everybody, that's what's so funny about Hollywood, because they love the roast and they love to do that. It's like everybody knows the truth about you. Everybody's just lying to your face, and until they get to the roast, and they're like, okay, I can actually say what I mean about this person. But yeah, we kind of the whole idea that we started with was we're talking about awards and stuff like that, and the platform that people get when they get these awards, and just know the platform adds an artificial value. Don't just take the value of what's being said simply because of the platform that it's on. Research it and see if that opinion itself, if what's being said itself is actually valuable. Don't give it value simply because of the platform it's coming from. So
look for the inherent kernel of truth and try a fact-checking website. There's Snopes, there's PolitiFact, and all that.
I don't know if I trust Snopes as much anymore. There's been some stuff on there that's a little biased as well.
Yeah, but I think
but for the most part, that is where I go first.
And they do report, where how they fact checked. So cool. I think take a look.
So
at that.
keep people honest. Keep us honest. Keep all the people honest. Just wait. Just don't tarnish your platform because you jumped on somebody else's bandwagon just because their platform was taller. Don't do that, because then you'll tie yourself to that, and you're going to start losing respect among the people that are around you. We want you to have. We want you to maintain your respect, be educated, be informed, don't follow people who are uninformed.
Yeah, truth matters. Truth
Yes.
has inherent value. That's why I'm an atheist.
I'll let him finish that. This has been a valid answer with Scott and Marshall. You can catch us on Sundays at 5, Mondays at 4 on currentcast.com. Facebook, search Currentcast or a valid answer. And until next time,
We'll see you then.
all right, see you guys.